Hey, what is going on, guys? This is SMEB Reviews, and it's time to take a look at the new studio album from Led Zeppelin veteran Robert Plant. Let's get to it. Carry Fire brings us 10 new songs as well as one cover, Bluebirds Over the Mountain, and gives us all songs that are written and produced by Plant himself. He is with his band, the Sensational Shapeshifters, and while some of these songs are very minimalistic, they do their best to really have interesting and diverse instrumentation, and honestly, it really does deliver in those aspects. I do point out that specifically the instrumentation, because at some points the songs just get old. Some of them do kind of drag, and honestly, I really respect Plant. I think he has a great voice, and while his voice is definitely a little lower and he does not perform those screams that he would in Led Zeppelin years, he definitely still has a very powerful voice and a very mature voice, and he even reflects that in his songwriting, his mature age. But honestly, it's really unfortunate because some of these songs just tend to drag with the same melody repeating and repeating, while all that really changes is Plant adds some vocals, some different words. Like, even the vocals kind of follow the same path. So it kind of gets repetitive. As much as I hate to say that, it does. One element where Robert Plant really shines is in the songwriting, not the melodies really. While yes, there is some diverse sounds, like folkier sounds, rock and roll, blues, country. It all kind of comes together, and it sounds interesting, but does definitely get old from that repeated melody. But what I want to focus on is how poetic he writes his songs. Honestly, it sounds very poetic and it's not very repetitive word wise. As I have said, the melody is, but the words that he is saying are not repetitive, and it sounds really good. I mean, honestly, some of these songs, even when it's not really about something extremely deep or relevant, makes you feel like it is, because it's just very interesting. And the choices of words, he has such a broad vocabulary when he's writing these songs, and it's very interesting and very fun to hear. With his age brings a different perspective. He definitely leans off of that sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of sound that a lot of Led Zeppelin songs did. And while I would never write them off as just a band that wrote about that, there are a lot of songs that do follow that kind of outline. And since then, his age has definitely shown, and he is writing much deeper lyrics. Whether it's just about simple love, it's usually about a deeper concept in love, like losing someone and how your love can change like the seasons. And he also gets rather political, not in your face political, which is something that I really appreciate. Not that I hate in your face political comments, but I think that when you're very subtle about it, it gives all listeners a chance to really enjoy your music and realize what it lets them feel it without being instantly turned off because they don't have that same view as you. And while yes, use your voice, I think that whenever it's not so in your face, some listeners might not recognize it until they already love the song, and sometimes that could change someone. That can give someone a different point of view. And he really is not in your face. He's political but intelligent about it. It's not just getting mad at different institutions. He's just stating and calling out the people that are doing things wrong, but not in a getting mad kind of way, like just stating this is happening and we're letting it. And it's very intelligent and definitely shows that his age has influenced that songwriting that he has. One problem with this album is I feel it's very mellow. There are a lot of songs that just get in a trench and just keep going for it. There's hardly ever a real break in just and excitement in this album. It's a lot of mellow songs, some of them very somber about love, and then you have some that just kind of drone on. Keep It Hid just has these dark synth sounds, and it sounds very interesting to start, but it keeps going and never really picks up. And most of the songs in this album don't really pick up. There are a couple songs, but most songs don't. Bones of Saints, now that is a good song. It's very diverse. It's got different parts of the song. Like, you can make out a difference. It's not the same melody going over and over. There are different parts, and it's very interesting. And it's got a folk rock Americana sound, and it's very fun. It's one of my favorite tracks on the album. But some tracks, the majority of the tracks, are just mellow and kind of drag on, and it's just hard to get through some of them all the way. I mean, some of these songs are up to 5 minutes, and when I'm not engaged within the first two, then how am I going to make it through all 5 minutes? that's just a problem, and that's one of the biggest complaints, that mellow and sound and how repetitive some of these songs can be. Two examples of this are Heaven Sent and Away with Words. They are just slow songs. And honestly, Away with Words is a very sweet song, but it gets so boring and so repetitive that I can't listen to it all the way through. I mean, obviously I have, but I'm never going to revisit that song because it's just so slow and so boring and so mellow. And no, I have no problem with slow songs, but just nothing happens in it. And it's just in a sea of mellow songs, and especially when you're in a sea of mellow songs, it does not rise to the surface. A couple do, but it is not one of them. This album has a lot of musical highs. I mean, honestly, The May Queen is a great song, definitely harkens back to Stairway to Heaven, so the Led Zeppelin years. But there's just a lot of lows. It's a very riff-heavy album for sure, and it's got a lot of fun sounds and fun guitars and interesting stuff in it, but it's just killed by the repetition and the mellowness, because if it's already feeling repetitive within one song, it is definitely going to feel repetitive when every song is mellow and feels kind of the same. But I do still praise this album. The songwriting and the lyric department is great. It's pretty well mixed. The vocals are great. Robert Plant has such a strong voice. And it's not a bad album. It just is one of those albums that is really hard just because it's so mellow and so repetitive. It's just a hard listen. It's definitely a hard listen. And some people this might strike a chord with. But for me, I'm not one of those people. It was a hard listen for me. So that's why I'm going to have to give this album a 6.5 out of 10. What did you guys think of this album? Let me know down in the comments. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Let me know. If you have any suggestions for upcoming albums coming out, any videos that you'd like to see, please let me know. I'm happy to look over them. Most of them I do want to get to. I'm just busy. I'm very busy, either with this channel or with other things. But I have a schedule. I'm trying to follow it and keep to it, and hopefully I'll get a break. So if you leave suggestions, I'll definitely consider it and definitely try to do that. Or if it's something coming out and I was already planning on doing it, I will bump it up on the schedule. So please just let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys later.